Now let's take a look at question number 69. Now if n is an integer and 3n plus 3 is an even number, so this is a very important term, 3n plus 3 is an even number. Which expression must also represent an even number? Now I have two different ways to solve this. I will suggest you to either use a plug-in or an abstract way to think about it. Okay, how does that work? Now let's take a look. If 3n plus 3 is an even number, so I'm going to have 3n plus 3 is even. So that means if I actually take away 3 on both sides, then that means my 3n is actually an odd, because the even number take away 3 will be odd. So let's take a look. Now if my 3n is, let's do it abstract way. If 3n is odd, that means I'm going to have 3n plus 2n plus 1. I know 3n is odd. 2n is definitely going to be even because 2 times anything is going to be making even anyway. So 2 times anything is going to be even. Because of that, I'm going to have an odd plus even plus an odd is going to be equal to even. Well, that doesn't work. Let's take a look. Now 4n plus 5. I'm going to have 3n, that one we start with, plus an n, and then plus 5. Well, let's take a look. And since 3n is odd, if I divide by 3, n is going to be an odd again. So if I have that, n is going to be odd. Well, I know that together 4n is definitely going to get me an even, plus 5 is going to get me an odd. Let's take a look at 2n plus 3. Now we know n is going to be odd, 3n is odd, and 2n is definitely going to be even, plus another odd, which is that 2n plus 3 is going to be an odd number. n plus 2. n is an odd number, plus a 2 is an even number, and then I have an odd number again. Well, first thing, just by looking at it, I know A wins. But this is so abstract, then what can we do in reality? Well, I do personally prefer actually plugging in a number. And we know that 3n plus 3 is even. So let's think about even number that is actually bigger so that I can actually plug in and solve. Well, let me see, what's an even number that's good? Let's take a look at 10. Now, what is going to be 3n plus 3 is 10? Now, if 3n plus 3 is 10, that means 3n is going to be equal to 7. And, well, that's actually not going to work because I want n to be an integer. Well, let's take a number that we can plug in. So maybe we can plug in number 6. I think that's going to be a good number. Let's come back in here and plug in number 6. Well, I'm going to say that 3n plus 3 is going to be equal to 6. Good, that's an even number, okay? And then because of that, well, I'll take away 3, then I'm left with 3. Okay, actually further checks our 3n is odd. That's good. Then divide by 3 on both sides, and 1 have n equals to 1. Okay, that's our first try number for integer. That's good. So this is an integer. That's good. And to further check the n is actually odd. Well, regardless what it is, plugging in, if this is the method that we choose, we should be knowing any of the abstract methods. So we can actually just start with 1. Let's plug in 1. If I have 5 times 1 plus 1, which is just 5 plus 1, which is equal to 6. Okay, that's good. And then I plug in 4 times 1, which is 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. Oh, that's not good, right? It's not even. And then after that, I'm going to have a 2 plus 3 because I plug in 1, this is going to get a 5, which is not good again. And, which is 1 plus 2 is going to equal 3, which is bad again. So no matter if you do a plug-in method or an abstract method, if you're actually understanding an abstract, that saves you some time from plugging numbers or finding a correct number for an integer to plug in. That would be better if you are an abstract person. If you don't like this kind of question, I better suggest you that to find a number to plug in just like this.